You know, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. But the way that you choose to deal with either can also determine how the next day is going to play out. Hey, everybody, it's Ed the Trainer, and that's what we'll talk about next on this week's Tips on Tuesday. So welcome back, everybody. You know, it's been an historic NCAA March Madness this year. And aside from the game last night, what I find to be an interesting side story is the idea of the Syracuse Orange and the run that they've made in this year's tournament. Now, a few weeks back, Syracuse was all but dead and buried in the sense that they had lost in an early game in the ACC conference tournament to Pitt. And in watching that game, all of the announcers, all of the so-called experts said, that's it, they're done, they'll never make the tournament. Now, the struggle for Syracuse this year was manyfold. You had a head coach that was suspended at the beginning of the year. You had some trouble in the program over the last few years for various reasons. And yet and still, on Selection Sunday, even their coach, who was surprised by the selection to the tournament overall, decided to try and bring his troops or bring his players up and get them ready to play. You see, despite the fact that no one expected that they'd make the field, they didn't enter in its first round of games already defeated, deciding that they wouldn't compete. In fact, Syracuse buckled down, they ratcheted in, and they began to compete as hard as they could, taking the opportunity for what it was and making the most out of it. In other words, it wasn't the best season for Syracuse. They weren't a dominant team throughout the year. They had had some good wins during the season, but that also came along with many very disappointing losses. But through the course of the last few weeks, obviously up until the loss on Saturday night, the Orange had made the most of the opportunity presented to them a few weeks back on Selection Sunday. Several surprising wins and a run all the way to the Final Four is just another example of when you're ready for an opportunity. You grab it, you run with it, and you make the most of that opportunity, whether or not you're fully convinced that you were ready for it in the first place. Think about that for yourself. Think about how you handle things in your life that don't go exactly your way. Tomorrow is a new day, and your attitude as you start that day can help affect the day after that, and the week and the months that follow, and can help lead you to the success or to the results that you seek. If you're able to distance yourself from the mentality of disappointment in your mind from the previous experience that you may have had. We're not doomed to relive over and over and over all of the misfortune that we've had. Every day is a new opportunity to make our lives and to get the results that we've always sought. So start today. There's a new opportunity right in front of you. What will you do with it? Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with me today, everybody. I really, really appreciate your time. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon.